Welcome to the I Dream of Speaking podcast. I am Ramona J. Smith, your host, the 2018 World Champion of Public Speaking. And I am here to help you find your voice so that you can shine brighter, dream bigger, and speak louder. I know you guys recognize that this is a different background, but what is our theme for 2024? Do it ugly, okay? That is not an excuse. We're going to keep on tracking and making it happen. The I Dream of Speaking podcast is all about mastering the art of public speaking, sharing our dreams and aspirations as speakers, and living confidently so that we feel good both on and off the stage. Today's episode is all about getting rid of those crutch words, also known as filler words, pause fillers, hesitation forms, or filled pauses. That person who says, so, you know, make sure you share this podcast with him or her so that they can understand how to eliminate those extra words. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next episode. Also, give this video a thumbs up, drop a comment with your tips, suggestions, and love. Share this. If you have someone in your circle who wants to be a better speaker, share this podcast with them. Follow me on Instagram at Ramona J. Smith 1, Facebook and LinkedIn, Ramona J. Smith. Join our Speakers United Facebook group and check out my website, ramonajsmith.com. You can also send me an email to connect. I speak at ramonajsmith.com. Let's talk about these filler words. Filler words are words, phrases, or sounds that are used to fill space in speech or writing. Filler words can be used for a variety of reasons, including to give the speaker time to think, to express uncertainty, to make something awkward feel less awkward, as a verbal tick, to sound more conversational, to show character traits or emotions, or to provide clues to the listener about how they should interpret what the speaker is saying. Some of those common crutch words, as we know, are I, like, okay, which I find myself saying sometimes, right, which I find myself saying sometimes. You talk to someone and you say, right. That is a filler word. Another filler word, basically. Another phrase, you know. Another word, very, really, highly, just, so, but, and, see, you see. And something that I noticed the younger generations are saying, bruh. Bruh has become a new filler word. For most people, hearing one or two filler words about every 3 minutes isn't a big deal. However, 1 or 2 per minute can seriously undercut your credibility. If someone says or every 3 minutes, that is usually fine with the audience. However, when it comes minute to minute and back to back, it will undercut your credibility as a speaker. I suggest doing your best to eliminate any filler words in any prepared speeches or presentations that you have time to prepare for. Some people say a couple of ums here and there are fine. I disagree. If you ask my opinion, if you have time to prepare for a speech or presentation, do your best to practice eliminating any filler words. If you practice your presentation, that will help eliminate those filler words. Filler words can have a negative effect on communication because they disrupt the flow. Filler words can disrupt the flow of the speech, making it harder for the audience to understand. Imagine your favorite speech. Now, there may be a few filler words in there, but imagine a speech like, I have a dream. If Dr. Martin Luther King would not have practiced that presentation, that speech, because that was not an off-the-cuff speech. He practiced that presentation. If he had been something like this, I have a dream that one day little boys and little girls of all races and colors would come together, it would not have had the same impact. Those filler words disrupt the flow of the speech. Filler words also create a barrier. The overuse of filler words can create a barrier to communication, making it harder to share the message. They can also make you look unprepared. Yes, they surely do. Stumbling over words can make you look nervous or ill-prepared, making it seem like you're unsure of what you're saying. Once again, using too many filler words can undermine your credibility as a speaker. Too many filler words can undermine the credibility of the presenter, making it seem like you're making things up or don't know what you're talking about. For some people, like me, many filler words can annoy the listeners. If you are a quote-unquote professional speaker, and you get on that stage, and I know they're paying you thousands of dollars to present to this audience, and you have a bunch of filler words, I am annoyed. Excessive filler words can quickly annoy listeners. Also, having too many filler words reflects poorly on your communication skills. Filler words can have a negative effect and reflect poorly on your skills as a communicator. The question now is, why do we use filler words? According to softskillssuccess.ie, we often use filler words due to a disconnect between what's going on in our brains and what's coming out of our mouths. Our brains have gone speeding ahead, but our mouths need a little bit of time to catch up. Effectively, we're thinking out loud, and that's what creates the disconnect that we plug with a filler word or vocal disfluency. That's a term, vocal disfluency, if you're feeling fancy. Okay, Ramona, you talked about how annoying the filler words are. You talked about why we use them. You talked about why we shouldn't use them. Let's talk about how to eliminate filler words. Listen to this. If you are an aspiring speaker, or if you are a person who speaks and you notice that you use a lot of filler words, listen to this, jot it down, write it down, take a mental note. This is treasure. This is gold for all of you who are wanting to eliminate those filler words. How do we eliminate filler words? Awareness. The first thing is awareness. Awareness is the first step in reducing your filler words. You have to know which words you are using most often. How do you do that? You watch yourself in the mirror. You record yourself and rewatch yourself. You ask for feedback from someone to maybe count your ums, your uhs, count those filler words so you can be aware of which ones you are using. Because once you become aware, you're going to start listening to what you're saying. And every time you say that particular filler word, you're going to hear it and it's going to send off a red flag in your brain saying, oh, I said it again. As I mentioned, one of my favorite filler words is right. Another one is okay. When I hear those, something goes off in my mind because I know that I shouldn't be saying them, especially in a professional setting. Awareness of your filler words is the first way to start eliminating them. Know which ones are your favorite. Which ones do you lean on the most? Next way to eliminate filler words is pausing. Simply pausing. We often feel that the pause is awkward because we want to have that fluency. We want to have that flow. However, the pause seems much longer to you than what it actually is. There is power in the pause. Silence can feel a little uncomfortable. However, silence can be an effective tool when you're speaking publicly. Instead of saying or just don't say anything. Don't say anything. Take a second or two to think about what you want to say. Leonardo da Vinci said, nothing strengthens authority so much as silence. Instead of saying or just take a second. Don't say anything. Think about the next word you want to say and then go into that next word. Another way to eliminate filler words is just slowing down. Just taking a breath and slowing down. We are not in a rush. We are not in a rush to get out this information. People can digest it much easier if you're going at a slower pace. I tend to talk very fast. That's something that I need to work on as well, slowing down the pace. Slowing down gives us time to think before we speak. We're much less likely to use crutch words when we consciously and deliberately slow down the pace of our speech. And I will continue to emphasize this on every podcast episode, during every speaking session that I have with speakers, when I'm coaching. Whenever someone asks me how to become a better speaker, I will forever say this: practice and preparation. Practice and preparation. Because when you're practicing, you can practice saying your message slowly. If you look back at my 2018 World Championship speech called Still Standing, I'll put it up here somewhere. If you look at that speech, you'll notice I'm not even talking as fast as I am on this podcast most of the time. But I practiced so much that I knew I had to have a certain pace. 1, because it is a competition. 2, because it is an international competition. That means the majority of the audience does not speak English as a first language. They have several languages, and trust me, I know my people who speak multiple languages. You're having to translate over into this language and this language. I get it. So it's much easier to slow down, and it's much easier to slow down if you practice and prep in advance. So slow down. Another great way to eliminate filler words is one of my favorites, and it's fun: practicing impromptu speaking. In Toastmasters, it's called table topics. What it is so simple. You find a random object. Let's take a pen, for example. You take a random object and you just talk about it off the cuff. You talk about it off the cuff, you freestyle it, and then you see how many filler words you use. It's better to do it with someone, with a friend, with the kiddos. Even if you want to join the Toastmasters Club, that's fine. I often do it with my clients during my coaching sessions. That is going to help you eliminate those filler words because you're going to get dinged every time you use them. Practicing impromptu speaking, speaking off the cuff, picking a random item, and just give yourself maybe 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes. It doesn't have to be a long speech, but give yourself 1 minute, 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes max to speak about something absolutely random that you haven't had time to think about, and see how you start to formulate these small speeches. See how you're able to do that off the cuff, and see how you can continue to eliminate your commonly used filler words each time. Go for maybe about 5 rounds. You can do this a couple times a week. It's fun for the family. It's fun if you are on a first date. It's fun to do with the family. It may even be fun to do on a game night or something like that. But that is going to help you become aware of the filler words, which helps you to reduce the use of filler words. The next thing you can do is work with a public speaking coach. It does not have to be Ramona J. Smith, although I am a very great coach, but whoever you see that is speaking well, whoever is speaking the way you aspire to speak, see if they offer coaching. Work with a public speaking coach, someone who understands how to eliminate filler words, someone who understands how to help you become aware of those filler words, and someone who can help coach you in a loving, safe environment, who knows what to look for and who knows what he or she is talking about. So let's recap here. How do we eliminate filler words? Raise awareness. Know which ones are your commonly used filler words. Pausing, being silent instead of leaning on those words. Don't say anything. Next is slowing down. Instead of trying to get every single thought out of your head and speaking at a fast pace and just trying to get all the thoughts out of your mouth all over and over really, really fast, just slow down. Next, practice impromptu speaking. And finally, work with a public speaking coach. Ultimately, you need to be practicing. If you know that you have a speech or a presentation and you have more than 24 hours to prepare, you need to practice. If you know that if today, whatever today's date is, if someone calls on you right now to speak next week, we don't wait until we show up on that stage to deliver the speech. We should be practicing just a few hours a week, just a few minutes a day. That is going to help you eliminate those filler words and really gain that credibility as a speaker. We all battle with filler words. As a world champion of public speaking, I still battle with filler words. It just takes a little bit of practice and awareness. Thank you so much for listening to that. I know to some people it was a little touchy because some of us use filler words more often. Some of us aren't aware, or some of us just don't care. However, this is the I Dream of Speaking podcast, and I have to hold you accountable in order for you to rise as a speaker and to one day call yourself, if not already, a professional communicator or a professional speaker. You should know what time it is right now. My favorite part of the podcast. What that mouth do? What that mouth do? Oh, what that mouth do? What that mouth do? Oh. As speakers, our most important tool is our voice. It's your moneymaker. It is your everything. And sometimes we take it for granted. Since we are not singers, we are not voiceover artists, most speakers tend to neglect properly caring for the voice. Every week, we will discuss one new health tip to keep your mouth and voice healthy. What that mouth do? This week's WDMD is about improving a strained voice. Have you ever had a strained voice? Maybe you were yelling. Maybe you went to the kiddos' basketball game or soccer game and you were just yelling. Maybe you just got excited and you were yelling and you noticed that your voice feels a little strained. This week's What That Mouth Do tip is all about your strained voice. It's from Katarina H. of Healthy Voice Tips. Excuse me. She has 5 tips to help find more vocal freedom when experiencing a strained voice. Number 1, listen to your body, she says. If your voice feels strained or tired after speaking, your body is telling you that something is not right. You need to stop and change the way you're using your voice to avoid vocal fatigue, tension, or pain. Ask yourself, what am I doing to cause my voice to get tired, hoarse, or strained? Be aware of what your voice is doing. You could have bad posture. I hope I've had good posture this whole time. Bad posture while speaking. You could be speaking too loudly. Your breathing could be shallow. When you feel strain in your voice, stop and think about where the strain is coming from. Ask yourself what you can do to prevent the tension. Become aware of the signals your body is giving you. Number 2, this is what I'm going to start doing with all of my clients for the rest of 2024 moving on. Warming up the voice before our sessions. She suggests always warming up your voice before you speak. Anyone who uses her voice for a job or a hobby should be warming up the voice before speaking. That means if you're on the telephone all day, that means if you're talking to customers all day, you should consider warming up your voice before speaking. Excuse me. Number 3, release tension from your voice. Use tension reduction techniques. Try circumlaryngeal massage. I've never tried that. Use SOVT exercises, those are semi-occluded vocal tract exercises. These exercises that use sounds with partial narrowing or occlusion in the vocal tract. This narrowing, I know you just heard that motorcycle. This narrowing creates a back pressure that helps the vocal folds work more efficiently. Examples of those exercises are lip trills, we talked about that last week, tongue trills, straw exercises, and humming. Create a daily routine to release tension from your voice. Number 4, improve your vocal technique. Sometimes strain in your speaking voice comes from inefficient vocal technique, such as bringing the vocal cords together in an abrupt manner, pressing them together too hard when speaking. Maybe you tend to use high breath pressure under the vocal folds. Maybe you push your tongue root down, which inhibits the laryngeal movement. Maybe you move your jaw forward when you speak, or slide it side to side, which creates tension that is spread out. These examples put a lot of strain on your vocal folds, which then leads to a strained voice. Speak to a voice professional to improve your vocal technique. Small adjustments in your technique can lead to big changes. And finally, number 5, reevaluate your breath. Inefficient breath management is often a cause of vocal issues. The problem is often in exhalation and in the amount of breath you push through the vocal folds. Straining is often caused by too high breath pressures under the vocal cords. She also shares a simple breath exercise to see how much breath you need for talking. Let's try it together. She says, inhale as you would normally do, and then exhale and start counting from 1 to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Woo! That was kind of a struggle for me. That's how much breath you need for talking. I would give myself maybe an 8.5, a 9 there. She says very often it is not about how much breath you inhale, but about how you use the breath that you have in your lungs. Let's recap those What That Mouth Do tips from Katarina. Number 5, listen to number 5. Let me start over. Let's recap those 5 tips. Number 1, listen to your body. Number 2, warm up your voice before you speak. Number 3, release tension from your voice. Number 4, improve vocal technique. And number 5, reevaluate your breath. Those were the What That Mouth Do tips for the week. Thank you all so much for joining us on another episode of I Dream of Speaking. Those tips were so amazing because as speakers, we don't think about our jaws often. We don't think about what our tongue is doing. We don't think about what our breath is doing. But I want us to be more mindful of all the things that go into speaking, not just saying words. We have to make sure we are caring for this whole area. Because without a tongue, you can't speak. Without a healthy throat, you can't speak. Without lips, you can't speak. And we want to nurture and care for and send good energy and good vibes and good gratitude to all the elements that allow us to be able to speak. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you comment. Make sure you subscribe. Also, send me, if you have any What That Mouth Do tips, send me those. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at Ramona J. Smith 1. Visit my website, ramonajsmith.com. Stay connected with me. Join our Speakers United Facebook group and subscribe right now if you have not already. As you know, I am a world champion of public speaking. I would love to come speak to your clubs, to your organizations, to your groups, to your clubs of Toastmasters, I would love to come speak with you. I am not hard to reach. You can send me an email, ispeak@ramonajsmith.com for booking information. As usual, it's been my pleasure to share this time with you. And until next time, let me help you find your voice as we continue to dream bigger, shine brighter, and speak louder. I will see you on next week's episode of the I Dream of Speaking podcast.